what we call the 24-hour economy. John Dramani Mahama will launch 24-hour economy. Mahama launches 24-hour economy and export program. 24-hour economy and export program. Now pledges private sector leadership. Now John Mahama launching program we know. Saturday no launching no. Say program way a 24-hour economy policy no. 8 pillars are ebejinaso. About way since about power, they have always dragged along or always moved along with the private sector. Near to Kroma and another Dan Kuku for the MPP catcher say Ghana beyond 8. Ebe sinde maintains the MPP ni bien and waka Ghana beyond 8 that because it was a lie. Yatiana Waka say one destroy one factory, MPP for power, Omoba be factories. Are buying ABC factories. At the end of the day, Omoka say, oh, factory be anywhere. Now factory be order that any idea so. Now this NDC government in opposition, Omoka say they want this country to run 24 hours. And the 24-hour economy policy they are bringing, they are going to bring the public sector and also the private sector. They made you know from the beginning, say, Abainnkwa cannot implement 24-hour economy. And that the bigger force will come from drive free the private sector. John Mahama share bono, Sebio Ebono share no, Wandana no, Ebonano, maybe Ujina. Amende ya launch 24-hour economy. Abano enya butre ejujo machre na yenu bina mo PZ ne asenkriguane bibi no ebi ha ensam na ba muntibi. It me be kire mo 24-hour economy na abana launch no how it is going to impact you as a Ghanaian. And bebewana is simple. Break it down and make it basic. Send be ya wotu wana ka say 24-hour economy say pa aban we kan say or the yen be 24-hour no government no NDC aban say or the Ghana for and the be 24-hour economy no. And how is it going to do that? Remember, Abain cannot employ more. Remember, Abain cannot waste a lot of money again on wages. Abain does not have the money. But Abain can create wages from we, the citizenry, the private sector. Abain can work with us in collaboration to raise revenue to, at the end of the day, build this nation. In the 24-hour economy, no, anytime they are betibiano, also who say a wuntina John Mahama debaye. It is yani how we are going to meet the government halfway, and then the 24-hour economy and also. At the end of the day, how many companies now buying be? But the small institutions are buying there at the support. Any other institutions, Abai is going to activate them to work 24 hours. Passport office, some of the hospitals. But the chunk of the job will depend on the private sector. Because the private sector, a Ghana fwa, mwankasa, motitimu moruma, mudi mojuma no, mope se Abai eni mudinsa waswo, na sebi mojuma ni mutre, na Abai sunya honfaswo, na munya honfaswo, and then your friend of private sector participation in government policy. Inti ende NDC abano the private sector no abeka den amamwo hu. Mame church the munchiro 24-hour economy. MPP for ejimi in 2024 omudi free SHS policy by from 2020. Omudi hu komo sa edrum brebi John Mahama ka se obese obe review no free SHS ye. Review as I say, Obesha de Mukina, Nyomabia Enko yen watnetino, no MPP for led by Kufu no ba Umian and Kwasia Formoka. Omoka say review means cancel. And it's a MPP ni, so a lawyer or a communicator or your MPO, alternative so catch us on free SH on 24-hour economy as Senekwasia every say Obia on review as say there's no way as any panabeti 24-hour economy as say. See me? Obia on review as no. There is no way. It does not matter school or work. We give it to the point to say ultimately 24-hour economy I say. So do not waste your time on the foolish MPP communicator. It does not matter the title the person carries. We Jimmy, if you say I won't review us here, how can you understand 24-hour economy? So we as Ghanaians, I was saying you ignore these fools called the MPP and look at the policies the government is implementing. Ebianese and the enquire for enquire ni aji school. Ni ajin say abain to me and so and abaye. So we need to ignore the foolish MPP and look at the policies the government is ready to implement and activate to benefit you and I. Now, yanko into the 24-hour economy. The 8 pillars are ebabe jinaso edi jumano ama ye nyina ho atoye. Now, first of all, maybe kenkan PZ for intinima jujum otumfo nana enya wanka menye. Enye, the 24-hour plus program is designed. You got a 24-hour plus programmer, meaning the other programs are account in the 24-hour economy. And yet just you can say economy one thing, but there are a lot of things in the economy. And it's different 24-hour plus because export count. Yeah, the export nyoma ye be ye no krum ha na ya ton ediako amanane any other things into a 24-hour plus policy no NA. Now, it will create 1.7 million jobs within 4 years. Into abine say in fear 9 pe 24-hour plus policy we no ebe create in Yuma within 4 years no 1.7 million jobs. Now, Obega say, hey, Aban can sa keke. Sa ne kufu adu kwasi ampe you obeke can be ekire one district, one factory, one constituency, then ye nwuhwe. Aban we ekire specifications. Baby a adwuma no be free aba. Nti omenya abotre say me CNN, Ghana CNN, loud silence. Ye me chirechirem na afa mi nchire mu wie no, ubehu baby a ndwuma no be free aba. In afi 4 years no, ubehu ndwuma 24-hour economy plus na edi aba. Entity 1.7 million baby a human be free abano and be chechirumi. A be free about extended productivity. A year beyond the traditional 8-hour workday through shift system. A binary say productivity be kosro. Now ye ba be a year ye be expanded and you be a year a mredo dua and hours do a year jumano ako a year 3 shift system. 8 hours no. Now a year boost export. Ebe boa ama sebio nyoma ye de be kwa abruchiri no enuaba ye be dua no ha cashew ni ade ye pese ye de kwa abruchi koton no ebe no so ebe ma emu peja na nyoma sebio ye kraba no eso beti ene de be ma yenya aye abrofu sika dollar na oman no ensika sem egina ne na so. Now integrate value chain across agriculture, manufacturing, logistics and services. Inti abasa na omo mu ye kua omo asebio omo ye nyoma bi te se den omo manufacture nyoma omo so omo ye logistics won nyoma any services obi wo ha ebia shazi any omo ye courier services services no sa nyoma ni nyina betuma besisi eni na ebie ama ndwuma aba ekronim. Attract private investors with 300 to 400 million in seed capital from government and nearly $2 billion in private commitment. Abain away sika almost 300 to 400 million dollars. Edi si was say a sika ye de be share a 24-hour economy no ye de be shem edi start. Eye ne friend eye den getria ye de be share 24-hour economy plus nim. Into 24-hour plus no into abain $400 million. In fact, so wo hwe bu pa eye private sector no almost ankra for person this sika be shem no eye almost 2 billion. It shows to say oman no ankra for aye ready and aban so aye ready a ombeka omontuma sieni achechire Ghana me be kireo eye impoma eye nwotwe a aban ebe gina so e de aye 24-hour plus no ama oman no 1.7 million job realization no within 4 years no yen sabeka na eye ndwuma so bebie na eye de Ghana yesika sam egina de na so. Now CNN na wo hwe no eye Ghana CNN remember Remfi. Now this is how it's going to be. Number 1 no be manufacturing Ghana's industrial future. Now, focus and scaling up manufacturing to reduce new exports and increase value added goods. Example, 50 industrial parks across Ghana. Akosombo, Japan, garment park for textiles and apparel export. Kumasi machinery hub for agro processing and light engineering. It's focus no bako and 24-hour economy ebe jinasono ebeba manufacturing. Say nia yebetumi ayeden yebetumi ayenyoma na sebio yama enyoma no edimu na sebio aye presentable na yetuma ton yeka say the value aka ho a utumi ya ade bi sebio ade no esombo na mom sibia wa package no sibia ade no wama no egina ne na so a eye akono no ebia sa ade no untumi nye ne sa aban through the 24-hour economy no aban besides get me the one get me sorry this is 1 sorry I went to 2 this is besides, get me the 1. So 2 no air manufacturing. Send a beya ube to me air den. Added value aka air den. Nyoma ye manufactured okrum ha. Into be all Ghana. Nebia or manufacture bibi to say ebia pencil. Obo also or to me air bibi to say garment intuma. A buying percent of boa sa in juma we na sa industries we no sebio ombe jina omonaso na omutumi air den etumi a print more near cotona bruche ye value ka ho akosomo Japan garment park for textiles and apparel export. Sa companies in now ho aban e de sa sika we bi e be hyem ema ombetumi ayentuma papa sebio Chinese de na ye kraba no ye betwa so na Ghana so yetumi aye bi kase wo ha ya ye dodo no ha na yetumi aye den akoton bi wa bruchiri enjuma nkura nketwa so a omo ye entuma ho dwuma a omo printing ntuma eye entade no omo so aban de sika be hyem na omo gina omo na so na omo ye dwuma che se ne be ya e den oman no sika sam ebe bi na sebio eye den a year ankra so edwumadi omudi no omusi kasem ebegina na so. Now we the second point. Now second pillar. The first pillar no any. I'm sorry, I skipped the first pillar. The first pillar is about growth. Now the growth no agriculture for sovereignty and sustainability. Almost equia and so adebia 24-hour plus no and also ebedi ntintiman pa. Now revitalizing agriculture through climate smart tech enabling farming. And an example would be Eden Volta, transforming the Volta basin into West Africa's breakfast. And a year Shikpon, urban farming using smart irrigation in Accra and Kumasi. And Agbeduwo parks. And a agroecological zones with irrigation, solar power, and processing hubs. So this is also another pillar of the 24-hour plus. Now about equia, yabese equia, sebio equia da equia debia yebetumi di sebio yere ashim ebema yenuane enye equia ye nende ya na ekwo na sebio asay into your friend sustainable agriculture. Agriculture ebede no ho si ekase ye de sika shema debia yedum pempenso bia ye ne ebetumi afidi ye ho yebetumi adi aduane ni bi so afidi ye ho ne aton bi eno na 24-hour economy no ebeden ede eniso ebesi so nti eno no bi ne say okọ be ti say Volta region sa insu a eda Volta region a sebio amanfo frɛ no the black voter, I think so. Sa insu no say insu bi a ekɔ eman efa Ghana sebio efa baby bebree etumi kopie amanfo fro so aban ne say omo pese omo make use of that insuo no se ne be ya omo sa insuo no omo di dwa omo pese omo de omo nyoma ba ekrom ebi so ede nyoma efa ko nkro so enku adwuma ene ade no aban no ebepe den ekwan bi so use insuo ni ye se ebi a ship kwanom de besi so na sebio afa sa insuo no so ekɔ na eba na ekuafo omo ho etumi de den omo enyoba anase omo products nyina no eguso na omo de ba krom na omo beton aban no be utilize sa insuo ni ye se ne be ya ekuafo a omo ho ni nyina no sebio omo nyina nso omo yekua na omo nnoba no anase omo nyoma na omo bedua no ebetumi afine ni way aba de ekrom omo so enya omo sika nti aban be use we nyina example sa insuo na eda ahonama mu no aban pese sa insuo a Ghana ekuafo be use a sebio technically ebe a transport channel a ekuafo a omo wo sa nkronkro a etwa Ghana ho hia omo da sa insuo na no nyina no omo nyina nso ebetumi eyusu sa insuo no edi omo nduaba edi abade ekrom omo obibi ti say Shikpon urban farming using smart irrigation in Accra and Kumasi and a 24-hour economy no ye ba be ye mfuo e okrom na eno no ka kire obi obekase ebe na wa ye fu okrom and the oba abrochira yetumi si edan tenten obekɔ so no my garden wo soro ebi wo ha utumi komantem bi na yakase area ha de yendua yensi dan wo ha ye be green ha nyina na de aye a particular small farm tech de irrigation ye betuma connecting nsu ama no sebio ye betuma wo small farms in the city and memako Italy there are so many of them there. Oko Europe, some of the countries are ebi okra edan so no obon say ya garden wo soro sa anwoma no na aban na epese 24-hour economy no mekai se John Mahama eka enkokon ketinketi ende asamwajan mu nyina akesefo kra eje nkokon ketinketi adwuma ne ye ende Ghana uyi imbebunu tena nipa beye enan aran enum omu nyina are into poultry farming. That is what the 24-hour economy wants to do. It wants people to control their own future, be their own farmers, be their own bosses. Inti even a kromu krampo no obeka se na me ameti kromu de ebe na metuma yekua John Mahama ni 24-hour economy policy na aba no mo amoti ekrom kurati Kumasi tenkran no mo betumi take advantage of it. Your modern kind of farming, you don't need to go deep in the forest to farm. You can be in the urban areas, you can still do farming. Irrigation system here good. Technology aba itumi eboa emetumi de small gardens in the city is also part. Amafo betuma to asho mo say unia ye nam nkran ye pensase a obi dia sebi onye ready say obi develop this year ye pese ye asase na 6 years the ben say ye ba be ye fish pond ye ba be dua ye garden eggs. We are going to make it in such a way say we are going to make sure say the value be ho ye be export it. That is small nketinketi na ba together a country becomes economically independent, and these are some of the things 24-hour economy now oko the third pillar our 24-hour economy no more me chechiri mu akere o tie Ghana CNN very very important. Now third pillar near build 24 infrastructure for integrated growth. Now, focus will be on building the physical backbone for 24-hour productivity. Examples will be rehabilitating the roads and bridges in trade corridors. Also, inland water transport on Volta Lake and strategic air cargo hubs for exports like pineapple and pharmaceuticals. Into 24-hour economy, no, I buy any private sector na ye. Into the abandoned person and say infrastructure so pa. Into a buying any babe call a de and quine and a quine a hodre wa Ghana. A quine a year pa say a what is a quine ye na a ma a juma ye no sebu a bear wawa. Into a quine any bridges bia a buying who say a very vital. Sa bridge we ya e kuafo nnua na efo so no e so much into also we dey important. Abai say 24-hour economy no sika ye dey abehye no enu bi na ye dey ba be select some of the bridges any enquire bi a wo se ye obebi a ye farming area. Sa kwan no so person implement 24-hour economy. Now we bridge that gap between the city and the villages are. Sa ekwan wan ya enuane no entumi ba nti eye sa ekwan no ene sa eye den bridges no aban say because of the 24-hour economy no eno so ade bi a omoni ebesi hu a omo be make sure say omo aye sa anyoma no eba inland water transport na me ka kire no eye Volta Lake no eno so be use insuo no sebio e de didwuma sa insuo no entumi ntene nkokwa e wo say entumi de kodo bi si so sa kodo no ebe ko tire tutire ekuafo mo kwan no hu nyina no obi abetumi afa ne nyoma e de akọ the next city the next town to make sure say business is up and down obi a eye dwuma ye koba tebia ye koba no na sika e fa nipa nsem na oman no emu bie sebio obi wo ha onyankobe ye kua oni ekua ni we be ye dwuma nanso se ne be obefiri bebi owo no akọ bebi ekua ni wo no e nsuo so na wo so fa oni ekwan bi obefa so interbind the eye canoes a boat ebesisi sansuo no so na a transporting for any aduane any services send be ya sebio obi wo ha oti bebi enso betuma fa nsuo so akoye dwuma no aba sa anyowa no eboa ema de economy ejina na so eba pharmaceutical services na any production companies na aban so make sure say 24-hour economy no strategic air cargo hubs and also ye betumi aye bibia omo ye inro omo so a sebio omo eye bibi te say abrobe any nyoma bi baby omo wono ebia eye access to those places na adding aban ebe fa kwan bi so nyoma bi wo ha I say ye try na yetumi ema ne beka eye ensa e okrom no aban ebe toto ema sa nyoma ni nyina so ejina na so. These are all part of the 24-hour economy policy eye NDC aban 9 8 pillars ejina so inti enye just one statement obia be hwehwem I dey say eye enamampesie no uhwem a de wo pe no na woyi now oko the fourth pillar 24-hour plus no enie eno culture, creativity and tourism for jobs and focus no ebe on monetizing Ghana's culture, asset and creative industry. Examples ni bini tourism cluster along Volta Lake and Cape Coast and also support for film, music and fashion the export, diaspora engagement through heritage tourism. So basically tourism and so any creativity, culture and also one part of 24-hour economy. They will look at how they can convert some of our cities into tourism hubs. Maybe it's a Volta region. People want to travel on the lake, the Volta Lake. They don't know how to do it. I buy able to me the boat. This is so it will be a tourist attraction and for transport tourist. Acco the back and send them across the Volta region all the way to the central region. A month 4% or we use some of the rivers or hono. These are all the things that are buying here. Inti our 9 bebree. And yet, yakaza 24-hour economy pa. MPP for Jimmy Tomontias yet. Bibi to say a year support for film, music, and fashion export. Nyama bebree oha ye industry na film industry no omu hia aban pese ohyemu kena na ejina ne naso se ne be ya yebetuma didwuma ama ye sini twa na ye twa no ejina ne naso aban pese odi sika hyem omom pese omko into film acting omom pese omko into production omom pese omko into creating stars out of the industry no omom pese omo export talent ni nyina no is part of the 24-hour economy aban pese ombeja the tourism industry no behind. They don't want to leave the creative the art behind. They want to also move them or tag them along. Now where the fourth pillar. Omo mo abrochire so person ne Ghana din sa woso eba 24-hour economy na aban ebe making sure say was set pace no to make it easy for people to connect. Omo pese almost idiom culture baha no aban will make sure it becomes very easy. the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the Tourism Ministry, they will make sure they build a platform. It will be a conveyor belt. It will be the propeller. So the exchange what we call intellectual mindsets when it comes to tourism and how to export them and also share ideas. Heritage, any tourism, no. These are things that the government and making sure the 24-hour economy no. Pillar number 5 no any. Pillar number 5 are 24-hour plus the business no ebini. Now, supply chain and market system efficiency. Focus now will be on fixing logistics and market access bottlenecks. Example ni bine cold chain networks for perishable exports, digital trade platforms for SMEs, and multimodal transport linking farms to ports. Inti abine say the 5th pillar 24-hour economy plus in business is simple when it comes to cold chain network for perishable exports. Now, eba nyoma ebi say tomatoes, moko nyoma bia ye twa ya e wo say sebi ye tumi ton no adekudi ntia eba Ghana titru obi a tomato seller obi a oton garden egg tomato farmer, garden eggs farmer, obi a onion farmer. There na ema omunyoma no obi a mango farmer, obi ha nyoma e prontem. Aban say 24-hour economy woman who say nyoma bebre o Ghana e hye anase esi omo ye sa ekuafo no esi omo kwan ema oman no enya ho mfaso no omo so nya ho mfaso. Obi ha otumiti anka botto be 50 na egu baako. Sene beya ode botto no anka no beduru krom na yetuma beduru bebi a wo se dunia ye de kɔ amano ne kura kɔtɔn no na ye din. Aban say 24-hour economy no omo de omo ni behwɛ saade no sene beya omo sebi omo yekuafo a omo dua nyoma e prontem no sene omo dua ba no anase omo twa omo nyoma na ebeduru krom ntem sene beya so omo den kura sa nyoma no omo de kwa amano ne ebi a Togo Benin krampo na ebetumi ayen tentem wano a empro wo nsem ema omo dwuma omo nyina enye kwa nti aban no ebe den ebe make sure say sa nkofo na omudua enuaba e prontem no nani beko omo ho na wafa ekwan bi so a omo nyoma no omo twa omo de betumi abaden abakrom ntem se freezer no begum no begum transportation of those things no ebetumi aba intentem nti ombe set up den akwan a ombe betumi afa so a sa nyoma ni nyina no ebeba krom ye betumi atombi na ya tombi so amanone na oman enya ho den sika digital trade platforms for SMEs and so winim pese omo making sure say amanfo omo ye ndwuma nketenkete omo ye omo ankasa small medium enterprises no store small companies na omo Ghana no aban pese or find a way a omo so betuma ton omo nyoma e wa brochire ene Ghana se ne be ya enye edin ebe easy amomo eno no omo betuma build platforms amomo a and the small shop bi ehye okankwe a sa small shop no obi betumi ato bibi efri no ho etua no online ama ne nsaka sa nyoma no courier services beba enti aban no ebeboa ema ndwuma chochopo anketenkete no kura no omo so ewo aban edin krata so a ompese mbo omo so omo nyina omo boa na omo nyesika nti small shops the companies amwo we mantem no aban enjo omo wechire aban de omo nyina beka ho omo build platforms amomo obi ti okankwe na ne store ketewa bi nyoma ketewa bi na oye enso tumi ton nyoma e okumase ni nyina ne sene aban ebe use the digital platforms no to make sure say people get access to almost services. Inti ni nyina eka multimodal transport linking farms to port. Inti Aban is looking at how to link ekuafo omofuo to central part of the country and also to the port. Senebeya say Aban to me connected the trains and the roads and the bridges are. Ya tamo nyoma na say the port direct to the port. Say o shipade twanya nyoma ni free bibi wona farmer service center no so be boy ekuafo mo nyoma mo ye no ejina na so inti utwa nyoma na yeje edwa de ekọ nti saa na aban na 24-hour economy no policy no ne 9 na the number 5 no the jane na so number 5 no eno no aka just say 8 pillars and 24-hour economy no ejina so. Now number 6 no capital for inclusive and strategic investment. Focus no will be on unlocking finance for businesses and infrastructure. Example ni bi ni say strategic value chain development funds SVCD and funded partly by levies on imports, time of use electricity tariffs to lower nighttime production costs, and tax rebates up to 50% for 24-hour operations. Into strategic value chain development fund, funded partly by the levies. Into the Omubabe say strategically, Omubabe making sure say when it comes to value chain now. sika sebio omudi beshem amanagina and also when it comes to the things we manufacture and the kind of businesses we are going to do, which all fall under 24-hour economy. No, they are going to fund it partly by the levies on import. Into nyomana sebio yebe krabano taxes yebe tosono sa nyomana yebe bano ye yisu kakra ene sa nyoma aban benya kakra no eno ene de be hye sa de value chain development num sene be ya ye krom ha nyuma e wa ha no so begina omo na so into aban is strategically trying to cut down the number of the amount of importer eba kronim na ya do ya a lot of the export sene be ya manfo di be di enu e be di dwa omo be ma sika na de ye ne kraba no ebe kitwe bi. So strategically the government wants to build their economy locally stronger. They want our economy to be more attractive. You bring more revenue than basically spending money to bring in things. Now about a time of use electricity tariffs. I'm catch them. The abandoned band say the policy be so eba. More mobile fall under 24-hour economy voluntarily. Mobile enroll our 24-hour economy plus mono. More electricity no abandoned share account samama mo. Sebio asimesia only 24-hour economy so 2,000 ubetia the form HNSA. Abang ebe making sure say sa more mobile join 24-hour economy bia mo enroll voluntarily no. Mo light bill some muskania sama mudi bo ejuma through an adjono mo boa afa ejuma no musika mo light bill no abang mo special meters ebeti aba forma muntia to say omo ni 24-hour economy policy nim and a tax rebate up to 50%. More mobile voluntarily one customer kuma pem mobile join 24-hour economy no eba mo tax mobile tia no abang at the 50% becha into other 24-hour economy so na so tia tax let's say roughly 2 million Ghana cedis abang at 1 million becha because of your contribution, because also fanipa, because also ye juma at the revenue ma abang ma Ghana for ma hono abang ebe making sure say o tax no you better so 50% send beya obeboa ama Ghana no ejina na so we 24-hour economy policy no 8 pillars ejina so no and a michi chimachro we Ghana CNN Loud Silence TV and I will share mema refi. Now, point 7, human capital development and no focus equipping Ghanaians with skills for a 24-hour economy. Examples libini. TVET alignment with industrial needs, digital skill training for youth, entrepreneurship boot camps for informed sector workers. So basically, when it comes to human capital, nipananka say etikrodum no aban pese opekwan bi so na ode dey ode boaye ma ye nianka sa no ye nyini ewo ye ndwuma ya yeyem ye nyanyansa sebio yetumi esua nyoma na yetumi boaye ma ye ndwuma ye beye no eno so etumi di de mfaso ebre oman no so pese o ye 24-hour economy a unhia nipa omwo kroma omunim de omoye sebio omo won sa ne dwuma senio edwuma ombedi no ebetumi aboa oman na aboa omonso ma omotiye intaban se eba TVET amatia yese nkwaranko school enkosua nsanu dwuma ya aban de behye 24-hour economy nimu se na be ya enkwara na sebi omeko TVET no aban betumi alinkin nkwara na de ama industries wa Ghana into uko TVET no na uko sa school no na ukosua nsanu dwuma sa school na enya din se obenye dwuma ewo industry bi because aban be di ngine mu amawo se wo so no sa school a uko enti wo nsanu dwuma we o pese wo specific job bi aban be boa ama sa facilitate ama sa dwuma no wenya enti skill ni nyina de human capital ye develop Ghana mbebunu no emo nyansa ne dwuma na aban no through the 24-hour economy no omotumi so aboa ma wenya edwuma into TVET no omo de align anase omo de join 24-hour economy no into mo amoko TVET no mo nko school wie mbetena fie mo nko school ewie abenya edwuma efise aban nim se wo wie a wo nsa ne dwuma into benya bebi akɔhye eba digital skill training for youth eno eba omo amo be join 24-hour economy no a digital training mbebunu na mobeko into digital training abe for computer coding program abe sa code sia chiro any other people who fall under the digital economy no sa skill training mu wia the aban ben say obeboa na sa nkwara no so enya bebi ahye abo edwuma into this all falls under 24-hour economy. Job creation, jobs, you need to look for it, you need to chase it, you are going to get it. Entrepreneurship boot camps for informal sector workers. Sebio yonkofobia oma tomade ache oma didwa ache oma nko school nanso eba edwadi a obua ye ma menum bebre titi kantamanto titi kejetia oma nko school da enso oma didwa akwanim sa nkofo nya ye ntumi nje omo echire aban ebe pekwan bi so enso akire omo se ne be ya and modern edwadie se ne ekọ and digitalization nti udidwa kura oye oba ma papa na bia wan ko school cry this usuro aban no ebe make sure say omo be create avenue ama ye ma amenem na ye de omo so ba ka omo mate ase ene eye 2025 yi se ne edidwa sabi kofo nyoma kura wo sehwia sabio eje se betena ka ma na mekọ e wo se me friend nipa bi e wo se metumi share me contact e wo se omo hu se be do time we e wo se omo hu se nyoma na me beto no ye calculate a metuma send sika na amomo through a digital platform ye be kire omo se ne omo bekọ kwan so se na bebi omo metuma book omo hotel kura ansa na omo duru ho nipa omo kosi omo so enti sa boot camp ni nyina no omo be kire omo informal sector sabio omo ko school so omo digwa na se omo ye dwuma bi na aban de omo be ka 24-hour economy no omo aboa ama oman na gina na so enti aban no enje obia we chire pillar na etoso number 7 enie number 8 pillar 24-hour plus no ebe gina so no enie eba eye governance and civic engagement. Focus now will be on driving implementation, monitoring, and national ownership. Examples will be civil mobilization through religious, academic, and youth groups, public sector reforms to support 24-hour service delivery, and a performance dashboard to track progress. It's basically the way governance and civic engagement in United said, a buying everyone home body within a 24-hour economy, no, or Bema Ghana for Tiasia in Chechem Nubacoso, Ombabwa, Ama and sorry, any in Kuo, Nina Atiasia, near too much church, na Yenina so, you to me the Sa, a general, and Mwano Abwa buying, Ama Ghana for Ghana Nibia Beja to say 24-hour economy, no, it does not matter, baby, we are Juma, dear, we are Masino, engineer, Fito, Yenina, you fall under it at a specific area. A place in Tiana, Yabena Junipa, Edia Tutu for a church, and sorry, schools, groups, youth organizations, Yanina, Abansa, Obabwa, Ediskaka Crashim, now you to me at church, Ama Sajumadi, Ejana Naso. Into a fapium in Watchi and a 24-hour plus in Ejinaso, John Mahama Lanchi, Namuna Montias, Abanwe, Omoka, Omoye. Ghana CN and Awutieno, Mejum, Emma Pizza for United Asia, into South Sobika 24-hour economy. Make us say, and Yadia Bakupo, a bebre, a buying any ankrankra and a beto monsa, Adi in Sawaso, Ama 24-hour economy, Ejina and Aso. Mama Kwasiabi Gojabi said 24-hour economy, and the Machilechim, Mama Ghana for whom Bebia Obiashe, Omomunko school shim, Omamako school shim, Oma Sebio Musashim, Omo Washim, Sebio Oma Omani Frakrashim, away a Ghana, Equia for shim, Mason for shim, a driver for shim, me Obiashim, build Emma Obia Abajoin near build economy, near build Ghana for in the 24-hour economy plus no.